I was trying to think of something clever to call this, and I think I'm just going to call it what it is. A UNIshell VHS. Yes, we're going to take that tape apart and see how it's made. We looked at this nasty tape in the last video, and a couple people have suggested that I should tear this thing down and see how bad it is as far as construction goes. Some of the key things that we will see on this, I'll just grab a regular tape just for comparison. I'll use this one as a comparison. So a real VHS tape, of course, we look at the bottom of it, right? It's a lot missing. First is where the end lamp goes. This one here, it just kind of sits in there. This is all cut away. On a real tape, of course, there's a lid that's locked. Open up the lid, and there's the front of the cassette. This thing here, of course, the lid doesn't even lock. There's no real guides, no rollers or anything, just plastic. So we're going to take this thing apart and just see how bad it is. See, a real tape, it's got metal rollers in here. It's got guides and so forth, and a proper locking mechanism. Now there's no screws that hold this thing together, so it's either just popped together or it's glued together. Looking at this tape, it looks like the seam, there's a seam right here. So I wonder if I pop it, will it pop apart? I'm thinking this thing is just snapped together. Maybe it's one shell, a clamshell. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking this is one piece of plastic that's just clamshell together, and there's maybe some tabs that hold it together. That's what I'm thinking, is that there's yeah, that's exactly what it is. There's tabs that hold this tape together. And that's it. Incredible. Look at those cheap reels. There's no windows or anything on it. This is just one. Actually, it's cheap. But that's actually kind of ingenious. Everything's all like, wow, this is like one solid piece. What are they using for the reel locking? Those are actually part of the back here. They're molded in. And it looks like, do they come out? I mean, it looks like they would fit through these cutouts here, like they'd be, like they're cut right out of that. Do they come out? That's how they're injection molded. You see, there's the little spring. So this whole shell, it doesn't even have a record tab on it. These would be recorded on a dedicated, because there's no tab to break off there. These would have been recorded on a dedicated recorder, or recorded on more likely a Sprinter would duplicate these, right? And the tapes are spliced onto the tape is spliced onto the reels. This is just an injection molded plastic case, like very much like the clamshell boxes, right? That you put your tapes in. See what I mean? I was thinking these are very much like these clamshell boxes that you would put your tape in. They're manufactured the same way, just out of a single. Yeah, I've got Paul McCartney in concert on a VHS. Probably never watched it. Don't even know when I recorded it. But yeah, it looks like that was made like very similar, just in an injection molded machine. These would have been cut away. These cutaways here would be for the molding equipment. So a mold would pop up or drop down. I guess it wouldn't even drop. It would just be the entire mechanism, the entire cassette. That would be the mold. The top half of the mold would go in place. They would fill it with plastic. The mold would separate, and then this would be just kicked out. One little spring here installed to close the lid. Just got one little spring here that's just looks like it's let's say it's just fused down into the front here. So melt the plastic there to hold the spring in place. Another little spring here. These are popped into place and the spring dropped in the back. Those are popped into place like that. Spring placed into the back of it to push them against the reels. That way, when the button's pressed, they're pulled into place. So these were pulled down into place like that, and then the spring was placed in behind here to push them back forward. So spring would just be popped in like that. Okay, you see. Now they operate the reels. The tape dropped in and threaded. Just like that. And the whole clamshell just closed. That is how those tapes, these were made. Actually, it's cheap. I mean, I saw this thing, I thought, oh my God, this thing is cheap. But after actually looking at this thing, that's ingenious. That is actually ingenious for something that is going to be given away. You know, I mean, the tapes that I used when I was duplicating tapes, I used Maxell tapes. That's all I used was Maxell. And they were a conventional tape like this, right? In fact, there's a Maxell tape there. And I would buy these Maxell tapes, different lengths, assembled in USA. I would buy these Maxell tapes of different lengths, and they were cheap. You know, they were like a T5 was like $1.05, and a T10 was like $1.10, and a T15 was like $1.20 or something, right? But they were cheap. They were cheap. But now seeing this thing, I bet you these tapes were probably going for 25 cents a piece, maybe cheaper. And for something as simple as this, for a product, like a product demonstration or something that somebody's only going to watch once or twice, why give them a good tape that they can erase and reuse? Just give them a tape that they'll toss out when they're done. But I mean, it's cheap. The tape blank is probably okay that's in here. These would have just been bought as a shell. And I'm sure that the tapes themselves were probably dubbed. They could have been dubbed on these. They could have dubbed them one at a time in a multi duplicator setup. When I was doing VHS tapes, at my production facility, I had I think I had 25. I had 25 duplicators, but my business associate, he had 100 of them in his garage. So on smaller orders where a client may have only ordered 100 copies or something, I would do it myself. But if they ordered 1,000 copies, then my business partner, he would do it. But the option would be, of course, to send it out and have it done. Have the tapes printed on a Sprinter. A Sprinter, you say? What is that? Well, in 1984, Sony developed a contact printing system called a Sprinter. They made a mother tape. It was usually on a metal tape. They called it a mother tape. It was recorded at a high level. It was basically a negative, so it was printed a mirror image of the final tape. This is a picture of a Sprinter, and the mother tape and a blank tape were brought together. They are wrapped around a contact printing drum. The drum didn't have heads or anything on it. It was just a smooth drum, and the tapes were blown together by air pressure, and a recording field applied, which would transfer the image from the mother tape onto the blank tape. And this allowed for recording up to 240 times normal speed for NTSC. And it was even faster for PAL-CCAM because their tapes ran at a slower speed. But an incredible machine. It could make a perfect copy of a movie and just blast them out. And the tapes were loaded on a pancake, a large reel of tape. And then the Sprinter, once a tape was done, it would cut the tape, it would splice it into a shell, and put the shell together and pop out the movie. That was a Sprinter. If you want to look that up, you can look up the Sprinter online. I'm sure there's pictures of it, but it was a big device that Sony made, and they used them for duplicating VHS tapes. But something like this could have been sprinted and put together very quickly, or not. They could have just bought these tapes blanks and recorded them on machines that didn't have a lockout switch, so they could just record them. Anyway, figured I'd show you guys the inside of this tape. Now you know. That's why they did it. It was cheap. One piece. Not all the little parts of a regular tape. No little springs, no clips, no metal posts, no screws. Just one chunk of plastic, and they could have popped these things out for a dime a dozen. Thanks for watching.